Today's likely going to be an unpleasant conversation for some of my viewers. Lord of the Rings may not be coming out for The Hobbit until August of 2026, but what's happening right now is just the beginning. August of 2026 is going to see Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit get released as a Universes Beyond product. But what happens between now and then is like a whole different world. Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here, and thank you again for hanging out today for another video. It is very unusual where I cover a video this far in advance of an upcoming topic where we don't even have cards yet. But the fact of the matter is, these cards are selling already and most of us just aren't aware of it. Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth has been out for a few years. We know how big this set was and how much players enjoyed not just the artwork and the mechanics of it, but the lore and history that go along with Lord of the Rings. It is a cross-generational type product and IP that a lot of players are diving in on. Now, what most people don't realize is with, of course, The Hobbit coming out in August of 2026, the sales of Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth have been picking up. There's a lot of these hidden small sales starting to accumulate, enough that I think we need to talk about it in case you're one of those players out there who thought about buying a couple of cards, maybe augmenting your collection. Well, there's a lot to talk about because these sales are already happening behind the scenes, and as we get closer and the FOMO grows, they're only going to get bigger. Let's take a look at this first one here. We're going to take a look, of course, at Sting. The Glinting Dagger. Here is the Showcase Scrolls version. The market price, $6.62. This is not some untold, super rich card, but at the same time, it's still selling a lot of copies, and we gotta take note. This thing's a 2 casting cost with an equip 2. It is a legendary artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has haste. At the beginning of each combat, untap equipped creature. Equipped creature has first strike as long as it's blocking or blocked by a goblin or orc, which is very selective, don't get me wrong, but it really doesn't seem to be the point. The point is these cards are selling, and it doesn't have to be the mechanics that are selling. It is the card itself, the artwork and what it represents, not just the playability factor. Players get really stoked when you start talking about Lord of the Rings. Now, if we start looking at all the amazing cards in this set, you can look at the Gandalf the White there for like $2,100. Those are like the really showcase fancy. I think they're the promo ones they gave away. But as you go down the list and you get past the fancy versions, there's actually a lot of money still sloshing around this particular set. You can't ignore what's going on because there's just so many things to factor in when you're looking at Lord of the Rings. It's not just the IP itself, it's the game mechanics, how it gets introduced, how it's being played. Players who are looking forward to this thing being released to add to their Lord of the Rings collections for Magic the Gathering, because there's a lot of people who play it just as a one-off solo set. Guys, this is going to be big. And the sales for cards like this have really started to adding up. It's not just 2 or 3 in a week, is it? Now, if I jump over here and I show you guys, here's Gandalf, and you can see here on the 27th, the 26th, when I took the screenshot, you can see these sales. The sales are starting to rack up. Now, if we jumped over and we looked at the One Ring, of course, yes, it's the most famous card in the set that everyone talked about. Post Malone has the one-of-one ring. Are we going to get a one-of-one Arkenstone? Although it doesn't have any magical properties, it'd still be a really phenomenal card. Maybe it'll do something. Maybe they'll get creative. Who knows? But the point is, it's still there. Right? In The Hobbit, you still have the One Ring, so who knows what they'll do with that. If they'll do an Arkenstone, we can expect serialized things. The fact is, these cards are popular, they are big, and they're worth a lot of money. You can't forget cards like this, the Orcish Bowmaster. Look at this thing. Guys, the sales may not be ramping up as much as you think they would be, in terms of like, this far out, you think, there's probably 1 or 2 sales a month, or 1 or 2 sales a week at best, right? No, that's not what's happening. Now, I'm showing you fancier versions of the cards, don't get me wrong, okay? I understand. But it's not just these cards that are selling. You start taking a look at how hard it is to find draft boxes in particular, and you'll see the sales of these things are very sporadic, but a lot of people are looking for them. And that's what's unusual when I looked into it. A lot of sealed product is being sought out. Players are looking for boxes all of a sudden. Now, why is somebody looking for a box? Why is somebody looking for Orcish Bowmaster? Yeah, it's a playable card, don't get me wrong. But why look for it now? Why are we seeing a jump up in sales now? And we're not talking thousands of copies where it's going to catch the eye of a whole bunch of big YouTube channels talking about it. It's enough sales that you notice if you're looking. When you see 50 or 100 sales every couple of days, other times though, these things go totally unnoticed. And normally I probably wouldn't have caught this, but I was looking in for a different direction of a different video I was researching when I noticed that a whole bunch of wish lists had a whole bunch of these cards and sealed products being looked for. Now, of course, it varies across wherever, state, country, province, wherever you are in the world. But the fact is there's people looking. They have it on their list and they want to get them. Now, this doesn't have to be an investor or scalper, although I am sure there are investors and scalpers jumping into this market, especially when I talk about the singles. But the sealed boxes is likely players who just want to enjoy the product. They want to have a little bit on hand for when the new set gets released. Of course, they're different products in the sense, one is standard and one wasn't. But at the time when these things get made, it's not going to matter to people. They're just going to want to buy it. They're going to want to enjoy it. And if anything, the sales of the Hobbit are going to be massive because it's going to be in the standard. It's going to be a standard set. But that also means the power level of a lot of the cards will probably be pulled back a bit. There's all those things to factor in. But the point is, when we're looking at the Tales of Middle-earth, the sales are everywhere and they're all small. But they're bigger than they were a month ago. They're bigger than they were 6 months ago. When you start looking back at how many sales were happening and which cards were selling, a lot of these cards were actually dipping in price. Now they're all stabilizing, and in some cases they're trickling up. We've also had cards like Lorwyn Revealed and all those cycling land cards from the set. The ogre guy, the troll, all those things started ramping up, right? Entis Restoration. All these cards are starting to move in a direction that tells you somebody is accumulating copies. Somebody is spending money to build up collections of these cards. To me, that's a scalper and investor. That's somebody who's looking forward to, at the end of the rainbow, 9 months from now, they're going to get their hands on this thing, which is kind of crazy to think about, but it's going to happen. But you now, as a viewer of this channel, you kind of have a little bit of an insight of what's going on, a little bit of a little inside track, that if you want to pick up any of these cards, you can probably still get them very cheap, very affordable. And if you don't want to buy them now, if you're not interested, and you're like, that doesn't matter to me, and later on it becomes a real thing for you, the good news is you don't have to buy them now. You don't have to buy them when they release. You can wait till about 12 months after release. Everything will settle down. The market is always the same. It has the same cycle. It's just the degree and severity that affects everything around it. Those things can change, but we always have a hot take on sales. Then everything slows down and the next product comes along and it cycles out. And that's just because Wizards of the Coast moves in such what's a predictable pattern now in how they do their products. So the money flows in a very cylindrical way. You just see it go round and round and round. But when they add a new product like the Hobbit back into the mix, it is spiking an old product. But it's a product that everyone liked, which means it gets noticed and it's going to start catching on the closer we get to release. Some of these cards will start jacking up in price and be higher than you would have expected. But if you looked at the signs, they were there all along. Either way, I wanted to bring this video forward to you. I wanted you guys to know ahead of time. Now, at the same time of this video, I'm going to take a little side note. If you've made it this far, we're like, 8 minutes and 30 seconds in? You can put a boomstick in the comment section if you've made it this far, because then I know you caught this second part of the video. And that is, I am well aware that when the Hobbit collector boxes come out, you as a consumer had better be smart about this, because it's going to go a couple of ways. Chances are, Wizards is going to really gin this one up. They're going to play it smart, they're going to play it right. Yes, it has to be into standard, but they can serialize cards, they can make things difficult, they can artificially lower printing for collector boxes, jacking that price way beyond what we've seen in the past, and we know where the prices are. And that means that a lot of people want to get the product, they're going to be willing to pay a lot of money. But what I've heard, only from a few so far, is that some stores are not even going to put these up for pre-order. They're not going to allow it to hit the open market the way you would think. They might just go the singles route because they're afraid they won't get enough of these products in, and they don't want people fighting over them. They don't want the hassle of a whole bunch of, a whole bunch of underhandedness from people scalping. They might just say, you know what, we're just going to keep it for ourselves. We'll put it, especially smaller stores, guys. They may only allow their local customers to buy. There's a whole bunch of different scenarios unfolding in the conversation, and it's something that you guys need to be aware of if you're hoping to get your hands on one of these boxes of the collector box. Not the other products. We don't even know what they are yet. But you know there'll be collector boxes, and now you know they're going to be expensive, and the vision of how people want to deal with these boxes is going to be very skewed. It's going to be a really big firestorm that people aren't even aware yet. They're not even thinking about it because it's so far out there. But now we have a video to talk about it. You guys let me know. You drop some comments in the comments section. Number one, have you noticed any sales? Have you gone looking to see how cheap the cards are at your store? Maybe you want to grab some. And of course, how do you feel if the collector boxes don't hit the open market for you unless you hit a big store? Unless you hit like a really, large LGS who's still going to do it? And how much are you willing to pay to get your hands on it? Because that's the name of the game. Thanks again for hanging out. Thanks for being here on the channel today. Of course, I look forward to seeing you guys every day. If you're new to the channel and you enjoyed today's content, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. I do produce new content every single day. And we'll be back tomorrow with another video. Lord of the Rings is going to be huge. It is hard to believe we're talking about it, but that's what we're doing. This far out, the sales are already happening. Guys, thanks again to my patrons, my YouTube membership members for allowing these videos to get created, researched, and developed. Without you guys, we wouldn't be able to do it. So thank you again for being supporters of my channel. For all my YouTube membership members and my viewers out there, we'll see you tomorrow. How much you willing to pay? That's all that's going through my brain. The original boxes were $5.99. We thought that was expensive. $800, $900, $1,000. We're in a different world, people. How much are people going to be willing to pay for a Hobbit collector box? 1,000 plus? It's going to be insane. Ramble and the Jamble! It's going through my brain time and time again. And then when those sales started mounting up, how about you, Nazgul? I didn't do an image of you, but you're selling a lot of copies too. Why is that? Tom Bombadil. Interesting. Oh, so many sales, so little time. They probably thought they were getting by on this one. They probably don't even watch my channel, but I caught you. I saw that. I'm gonna keep watching for you.